Georges St-Pierre did an interview on ESPN with Ariel. It was like an hour. George is driving and they're on FaceTime. It turns into this great little piece. But somewhere within that interview, George made the statement, and I quote, "Not 1 minute of my career did I enjoy fighting." Now, many people have asked a very good question. By many people, I'm talking about the kids on the Underground. But at the Underground Forum, they were talking about, hey, can you be good at something? Is George doing gamesmanship here? Is he just making a statement to be interesting? Can you actually be good at something that you do not enjoy? Absolutely. Absolutely, and I absolutely believe George, but here was the difference with George. George was one of the first guys to admit it. If you have a problem, the first step to recovery is admittance. And then you have to want to get better. Like any other addiction in life. And George was able to identify very early on, I love the training, I love the lifestyle, I love to compete, I love testing myself. I don't like to be in front of the world doing all those things on TV at the same time. Normal. That doesn't make him weird. That makes him normal. But what makes him special is that he identified and threw that monkey off his back. He popped out. Here's what's up. And he just diffused the problem to a very high level. George at one point had put me in touch with a sports psychologist named Brian Cain. And when I started working with Brian Cain, I started to understand why George put me in touch with him, but I also started to understand the mindset of George by the things that Brian Cain was putting us through. There was visualization techniques, but there was also a lot of talk and dialogue and real logical understanding that took place. So after working with the psychologist that George worked with and then hearing some of the comments that George has made, George did himself a favor early on. George used to tell stories that he and David Loiseau, they were very close. They came up together. They came from traditional martial arts. George karate, David Loiseau taekwondo. They came up together. And I trained with David a couple times at Team Quest. And he told me this, when he and George fought and made their debut, they made it together. So they're band of brothers. They did it together. They're in the back. Loiseau went on to fight for a world championship. That's how good he was. St-Pierre want to become world champion. That's how good he was. They made a deal in the back. If you're truly my friend, don't ever let me do this again. And the other one says, okay, if you're truly my friend, don't you let me do this again. This was a terrible idea. We're going to see it through because we have egos and we're here. But if I forget how much I hate this tomorrow, you have to be the one to remind me. And they made the deal with each other. I understand that as a real thing because that happened with Ed Herman and I in New Jersey, Taj Mahal, same card, in the back. Don't let me do this again. Okay, you don't let me do this again. That night, we go out to the buffet together. Deal's off. Hey, forget everything I told you. No, that was just talk. I love that. You know, let's be in practice together Monday and get ready for the next one. And we're saying it back and forth to each other. So all I'm offering for you is, yes, George was being truthful. And yeah, being in there is a different emotion. It's a different level of emotion. I don't feel that it fits into happy, sad, scared, excited. I don't feel that it fits into any normal human emotion. I feel that it's an emotion all to itself. And there is a bit of a high from it. You know, some people gamble to lose. You guys will see that if you spend time in Las Vegas. You might be one of them. You will get a bigger disappointment, but it will be a bigger emotion from losing at the table than excitement from winning at the table. Some gamblers gamble to lose. Believe that or not, it's a very real thing. So those negative emotions, those trying times, can be some of the strongest emotions, which oddly is what brings us back.